Okay, so good morning, friends. It's Miss Jessie, and what we're going to do to start our day is we are going to do the calendar. So when you're watching this video, I really hope that you are, and how we normally sit at our circle is we sit crisscross applesauce with one hand up, the other hand up. You lock your hands together and you keep them nicely in your, the children should have said lap. So lap. Okay, so we're going to start with the calendar here. We're going to start with the name of the month, okay? Before we name this specific month, there's some things that I always point out to you guys just to kind of help remember. In March, there's a special holiday. So we have here a pot of gold with rainbow, and we have some shamrock. And spring usually happens around this time. So let's sing this song by Barbara Maleen for any of my parents. The song is called Months of the Year, and this is how it goes. So we go January, February, March, and April, May, June, July, and August, September, October, November, December. These are the months of the year. And so for this month, if anybody wants to say it and they know it, you can say it. But if you don't, the name of the month is March. Okay? So everyone says that with me, March. Now, we usually, how it goes is we sing our songs in English, but then we just go over the words of the names of the months in Spanish as well. So we start with Enero is January, enero. And then febrero is February, febrero. And then it's marzo, which is March, marzo. And then we have abril for April, and that in Spanish is abril. And then we have mayo for May, and in Spanish again, that's mayo. And then we have junio, which is June, and in Spanish again, that's junio. And then we have julio, which is July, julio. And then agosto for August, and that's agosto. And then we have septiembre, which is September, and the way we say that in Spanish again is septiembre. Then we have octubre for October, octubre. And then we have noviembre for November, again that's noviembre. And then we have diciembre for December, which again is diciembre. So you can just keep practicing saying these words. If you're not saying them right, that's okay. We just keep practicing. So you can watch this as many times as you need to for the names of the month. But the name of the month right now is March. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to count the numbers. And we're going to start always with the number 1, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and today there's a special shamrock on here. And does anybody know why there's a special shamrock here for the number 17? It's because today is St. Patrick's Day. So it's a special holiday, and so that is why there is a shamrock here. So now what we do is, now that we've counted the numbers in English, now what we're going to do is count them in Spanish. So please say them with me. After I say them, I want to hear you say them. So we start with the number uno. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 y 17. Today is 17. Okay, so next what we're going to do is the days of the week. and we're going to start with Sunday. So we're going to start here for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we start again. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we start again. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. So I don't really quite have a song for the Spanish days of the week, so we just verbally say them and repeat them. So now what we're going to do is say our Spanish words for days of the week. And we start with domingo. So domingo, lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes y sábado. Domingo, lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes y sábado. Domingo, lunes, martes. Today is martes. Okay, so today's date is March 17th, 2020, and today is Tuesday. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is read you a story. This is a really cute, special story. So if you'd like to take this time to find a cozy place to sit down while you listen and watch me read you the story, the whole point of reading a story quietly is that there's no talking. This isn't a time to be silly. This is a time to be calm and relaxed, okay? So make sure you're sitting in a calm, relaxed area. The book that I'm going to be reading to you today is called Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are by Dr. Seuss. Okay. So when I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man and the desert of dries. And he sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, much more unlucky than you. Be glad that you don't work on the Bunglebug Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bumbridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful a whole heaping lot for the places and people you're lucky you're not. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in that traffic on Zat Highway 8. Ooh, traffic. Or suppose, just for instance, you lived in Gazare with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there? No thanks. Suppose, just suppose you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his thromdefibrillator apart. He will never get it together, I'm sure. He will never know if the gick or the gore fits into the scrux or the snux or the snore. Yes, ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his thromdefibrillator apart. Look at that mess. If anyone hears that, do you guys know what it is? I have Weezy at my house, so he's in here listening. I think he likes this story. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Ollie Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard, and it's quick-growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in the hay is the piffless pay for 2 ducalas a day, and Allie can't live on such a piffless pay. He has to paint flagpoles on Sundays in grooves. How lucky are you? You don't live in his shoes. And poor Mr. Bix, every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his boyfriend to fix. It doesn't seem fair, it just doesn't seem right, but his boyfriend just seems to go schlump every night. It schlumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Bix figures it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unschlump it, and then the night air comes back and it schlumps once again. So don't you feel blue, don't you get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a boyfriend that schlumps. Womp womp. And while we're at it, consider the schlotz, the crumple-horned, web-footed, green-bearded schlotz, whose tail is entailed with unsolvable knots. If he isn't much more worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella. That's just what I'll do. Oh boy. Have you ever had knots in your hair? And you're lucky indeed you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whammel. A whammel, you know, is a sort of a saddle held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old whammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, ducky, you're gone like a goose. And poor Mr. Potter, T-crosser-eyed daughter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's in an INT factory out in Van Nuys. Ooh. Oh, these jobs people work at out west near Hatch Hatch. There's a hatcher, bee watcher, and his job is to watch, is to keep both his eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any harder. Not much. So then somebody said, our old bee watching man just isn't bee watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another hatcher. The thing that we need is a bee watcher. Wow, that was a hard one to say. The bee watcher watched the bee watcher. He didn't watch well, so another hatcher had to come in as a watcher. And today all the hatchers who live in Hatch are watching on watching the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a hatch watcher. You're lucky, you see. Wow. Goodness gracious, that was a hard one to read. And how fortunate you're not Professor DeBreeze, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Javanese. And think of the poor puffing Pooglehorn players who have to parade down the Pooglehorn stairs every morning to wake up the Prince of Poobukin. It's awful how often their poogles get broken. And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Hadow. Try as he will, he can't make any shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his giz, and I think that by golly, there probably is. See, here he is. Everyone else has shadows, but not him. And the brothers Bazoo, the poor brothers Bazoo, suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do, and think you're unlucky? I'm telling you, ducky, some people are muchly, oh, ever so muchly, more unlucky than you. And suppose that you lived in the forest in France, where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from their perilous pants-eating plants. But your pants are safe, you're a fortunate guy, and you ought to be shouting, "How lucky am I?" And speaking of plants, you should be greatly gladdish you're not Farmer Falkenberg's 17th radish. And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town in the ruins of Ronk. Ronk is rather run down. And you're so lucky you're not left a left sock left behind by mistake in the caverns of Croc. Ooh. Thank goodness for all the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some punkerish place like a rusty tin coat hanger hanging in space. That's why I say, Ducky, don't grumble, don't stew. Some critters are much, oh, ever so much, so muchly, much more unlucky than you. And when our story's over, we say the end. Okay, so now that we've done our calendar and we've read a story, we've had some time to relax our bodies. On Mondays, what we do is meditation and yoga. So if there's a space in your house that you can find that's very quiet and not loud and not disruptive, now is the time to go find that spot. I'm going to go set up my area. What we normally do is we set up a little rug. We have a little Buddha to represent peace and represent our focus on transitioning into a quiet yoga meditation time. And then I light a candle. And then once the candle is lit, all my friends know in my class that we need to promise that we could agree to be silent, which means no talking, no goofing, and being very serious, okay? Your mommies and daddies are gonna tell me if you're not being serious, so let's do our best, okay? So let's go find a space that's quiet enough for us to do this yoga session.